Good evening and welcome to November Foxtrot. I love your hat. That was a surprise. That was very unexpected.
Yeah, I did that as the intro was playing. I thought, oh, what can I get him with? And I was like, rah, I got the old bear skin out.
Yeah. Andy, you can't message us literally at 8 and say took your time.
Got the flaps to deploy as well, look.
Oh, nice. Excellent.
They're not very rigid, though.
We went to the library with Poppy and got her a book on. It was like a children's book on how a baby's born, or like where do babies come from. It's called.
Really?
And it's so it's like a fold out book. It's actually quite informative because it talks about babies from like all sorts of different animals and like creatures and stuff like that. But at the front page of this book says where do babies come from now with added flaps.
Oh, well, there's a big clue.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Good evening, Andy, James, Fresh Meat, Mike or / Pete, Harry. Mike, I don't know if you were here last week for when we were talking about that. But... Oh no, you were here. Yeah.
Was he here? Was he here for the ribbing? The ribbing.
I think he was here for calling him Pete. I haven't called it to him face yet. I don't know if I might have to work on that one.
Can we, also, Andy, evening, Andy. Welcome along, mate. Have you confirmed that Andy's alternative character is that YouTube one?
No, not sure. Andy, who are you?
Who are you, Andy?
Because we were having a debate the other day because Lance, we were sort of a little bit of a post-show debrief, and Lance was saying, "Oh, there's a few new faces on tonight." There was that Andy, is it Andy Luckett?
Yeah.
And we were like, I think that's Andy Bob.
I was like, good God, there's two of them. Yeah. Getting abused from two sides now.
Either that, or I've just very publicly just insulted Andy Bob and Andy Luckett. So,
if you are different people, we apologise. If you're not, we don't. Even Rage,
hi, Rage.
Harry, Cherry, Danny.
Oh, look, it's Huckleberry Finn. Danny, whenever you put in the chat what's happening, I know that you mean it like, oh guys, what's happening? But it always comes across to me like, what's happening?
Yeah, like as if he's just woken up and staring at us two. Like, why are you two here? Why are you in my picture box?
No, now he's confusing us because he's put Andy Bob, and hang on. No, we are different people.
I don't believe him. I think he's taking the piss. I think it is Andy Bob.
I don't know.
Boys, what's happening? Evening, Les. At the moment, we're trying to solve a conundrum, Les, at the moment, whether Andy is Andy or he's other Andy, who's not Andy, but he could be. But we shall see. We'll find out.
Oh, very confused.
I think
if you are separate people,
they're
that's
both
awesome.
Invited to the invitational. So if one person turns up like a two-face, then we'll know who's who.
But the problem is, it genuinely might be two different people. I have absolutely no idea. I'm very gullible on things like this. I once had a friend at school who I literally went to primary school, nursery, and secondary school with, and in secondary school showed me a picture of her, and she said, "Oh no, that's actually my twin," and I believed her for like 3 weeks.
Did you really? I nearly got my wife to believe it was 2022 over the weekend, but I buckled. Couldn't keep a straight face. She's actually nearly about to Google it. What year are we in? I was like, "Are you fucking serious?" It was quite late in the evening. We'd had a drink, so.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
Oh, blimey! Right.
News.
News. Any purchases?
No. I've made a new suppressor cover though for my M4. Obviously, can't show it because of YouTube.
You show the cover.
Oh, I can't be asked. It's over there. Plus, both the bowls are blown in the loft, so I'm sitting here just with my little angel halo light. Yeah. And it's just like a dark abyss down there. There could be a Jeff's out about down there somewhere, gimping about. So I don't want to go down there in the dark. Lots of scurrying going on. Yeah, that's it for me.
Talking of scurrying, I bought some insect repellent.
Nicely done.
This is just a little BCB DEET 40% Citrapel. Whatever that is. Repels mosquitoes, midges for several hours.
What's that Scottish one?
It actually says, to clarify. Sorry, to clarify, it says repels mosquitoes, midges, etc.
Etc. Oh, okay.
So,
Other applications then could be interesting. And what's that one that's been specifically made for the Scottish midgie? Is it Smidgy or Skimidgy or something it's called?
Something like that, yeah.
I'd like to give that a go.
I'll be honest, when
that
I
stuff's
heard
supposed
about
to be
that,
like
I thought it
rocket
was a
fuel.
prank.
No, it's genuine, straight up. There's a guy, Simon, a bloke in the woods on YouTube, and he swears by it. He did a canoe trip around the Scottish Lochs and that a few weeks back for a charity, and he was using it all the time. Smidge.
Yeah,
that's
it's
the
on
stuff.
Amazon for £7.20.
Yeah, I might have to invest in something. I've got the red can of the jungle stuff, which is like the high concentrate. DEET. It's got the high DEET level in it. So there we go, Smidge. Good man.
Smidge, there we go. Hi, Andy. Andrew. Sorry, I don't want to assume.
Les says, "Oi, Mike, here's my password for my Wi-Fi." Hashtag sort your Wi-Fi out.
Yeah, so that's the main update. So this week I am now running.
Don't pull the lead out. Don't pull the cable out.
Cable down to my my hub in the lounge. So I'm hoping that's going to fix it. If not, don't know what I'm going to do. To be honest, camera's gone blurry. That's fun. Fuck's sake. I'll sort that out now. Hang on.
Mike now looks like a pixelated face from Crime Watch.
Yeah. So the Wi-Fi sorted out. I'm consistently blurry.
What's Harry said there? Purchases following episode 51 took the plunge and spent £300 on my MilSim essentials. Amongst other things, I now have a Bergen and a Sport. Good lad. That's what we like to hear. Wonderful.
I'm hoping that you got more than the Bergen and a Spork.
That'd have to be an epic Spork to warrant that money. Good
it's
God.
Actually self-heating.
Self-heating. It feeds me. I could just sit there in my Tommy Chippy bib. Nums. Evening, Damo.
Right, I'm convinced that the two
it's one person.
Andy's going, Andrew, you're a lovely man, and then Andy's going, thanks, Andy, you are too.
Yeah, he's sitting there. He's got his laptop out, mobile in the other. I know what's going on here.
Right, this is Ratty just said my bloody mobile internet must be from the same provider as Mike's broadband. Oh,
this is Mike's moodybroadband.net. If you'd like to sign up, Michael will share his internet with you.
I'll put a link on our website when it's finished.
Oh dear, good stuff.
Oh, right. So this week we are talking about MilSim risks and hazards.
Yes, we are.
So all things related to the
however
risks and hazards of MilSim.
we did have a review this week, Mike, didn't we?
We did have a review. Hang on, I've got to find it.
We got a review. Someone actually put a review in.
Harry Badger.
Dear. Well done,
Harry.
Now,
just before you start the what you're about to do, because I know exactly what you're about to do.
I'm not excited for this at all.
We're now actually recommended 5 stars on our Facebook page.
Oh God!
Because we now have four ratings of 5 stars. Apparently.
Nice. Oh, so, wonderful!
Thanks
Thank you
for that,
very
Harry.
much. Good man.
There we go. All right. Oh, this is going to be the most offensive thing we've done. Not far the most informative and funniest bunch of chaps for all things MilSim. I've learned a lot from them and had more than a few laughs along the way. Everything from kids' recommendations and highly invented debriefs to advise special guests and funny stories. Not sure what accent this is going into.
You sound German.
Indian, French, German. Highly rated and worthwhile viewing.
Oh, mate, for an angry French waiter, you sounded more like Arnold Schwarzenegger than you did an angry French waiter.
I didn't say it was going to be good.
You're a good sport. Fair play. He sounds more like a fucking gory. Oh dear. I love that. Keep them coming thick and fast. Mike's got plenty of characters in there.
If there's any more reviews for next week, we're going to be doing a sad. Let's go for sad American mechanic.
A sad American mechanic. All right.
Yeah.
Good luck with that, Mike, won't you?
No, that's you, mate.
No, I never signed up for any of that. That was all you. You're the Amdram.
Yeah.
Hair clump.
Definitely bringing the drama.
It's the Gestapo. Yeah, it was instantly very German authoritative, wasn't it? It's like, you are the... Well, anyway, come on, we're digressing here.
Look, some of us have a kink, and we're not gonna feel ashamed for it, right?
We've got 5-star reviews here, mate. We've got to deliver now. Come on.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. So, let's go.
Go for it, Lance. Take us away.
Risks with so I guess the first thing to think about would be obviously the event you want to choose, like your sort of level of competency, if you like, with your outdoorsiness and all that sort of thing. So I think it would be very important for you to choose if you've not been to an MilSim before, so read up heavily on what the event entails, where it's located, like the longevity of the event, whether there's any breaks involved, whether it's like almost like hard routine where once the bell blows at the bell tolls at the beginning of the event, that's it then until the Sunday or whenever it is index. Just things like that to consider. It's a big risk for someone who's sort of going in sort of like without too much knowledge about it, thinking, oh, I've bitten off a bit more than I can chew here, because that could potentially spoil it for you by going in like guns blazing and thinking, oh shit, it's a bit much. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's one of the main sort of things. Starting off,
like recommend Stirling potentially as your first event.
I've not been. I would recommend Stirling. Like I said, I'm same as you. I've not been to one. They look awesome, and all reports back from them are they are awesome. I'd certainly recommend it to other people to go to one, but I don't know if I'd recommend it for your very first time doing it. And I'm sure the guys at Stirling, being the guys who they are, would sort of agree. Say, yeah, you want to do a few more bits and bobs outdoorsy first, and then sort of come along once you're a bit more competent with your kit and sort of like dealing with your surroundings and that a bit more, maybe. Yes. What about yourself, mate? From my little list you've worked on.
So reading your list that you sent me, I think it's important to ensure you've got the right kit as well. I mean, when you're planning an event, there's no point planning one where you're going to be spending, loads of time in the woods in the middle of winter in the rain, and then you haven't got a tent or a proper sleeping bag or proper sleep system or anything like that. Because ultimately, you're just going to make yourself miserable, aren't you? You're going to be going to an event, and it's like you're going to be there. Things might get wet or something like that. You've not really kind of catered for that. Yeah, you've not really catered for that. And ultimately, you're going to go away from that event. It could be the best airsoft in the world, but you're going to go away a little bit grumpy at least from just having had a rubbish night's sleep, or it's going to tarnish your event.
It will do, yeah.
You've got to make sure you got the right kit, because ultimately, you can have the best airsoft gun, you can have the best loadout and everything like that, but if you're going to get rubbish night's sleep, then you're going to wake up in the morning, you're going to feel crap, you're going to take that into the game with you, and ultimately it's going to bring you and other people down as well. So it all comes down to the bare bones of it, and making sure you're competent with the kit you've got and you've tried it before you've gone as well. Yeah, so that was the kind of subset, I guess, from that, is also making sure you've got the right things. So it's not just making sure you've got the stuff you need, but also making sure that things work. There's a good example is like a hammock. If you've never tried a hammock before, you might struggle with it the first time. So don't set it up at an event as your first time necessarily, because you might find it's the worst night's sleep you've ever had. It's a hammock, so in my opinion, it's probably the best night's sleep you're going to have. But there's also other things as well that you'll learn as you go. So you make the little lists and the little debrief after events, and you'll come up with things like the insect repellent. I've gone to a few events now where I have been bitten by bugs and it gets a bit annoying. So the insect repellent, that's just a little thing from there, and that then goes on my list for the next time I go. So it's making sure you got the stuff you need and also packing appropriately.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like we've said, trying your kit before you go, even to the point if it's short notice. I mean, obviously, say you've ordered something and there's been a delay in it being shipped to you, and it's arrived a day before you're supposed to be going, and you've got like a little 1-man or little 2-man sort of tent sort of setup sort of thing. I don't know, a Vango one like Mike's got or something. Even just to get it all out, and just to make sure that all the parts are there at a minimum. Make sure all the seams are good, that the zips work. If you haven't got the space, maybe you live in a block of flats or something, like you haven't got a garden or an open space, you can set this tent. There's a lot of people like it. You haven't got the luxury of being able to just pop out the back garden and set a tent up. But just to make sure that all the seams are good, all the poles are good. 9 times out of 10, the pegs are crap, so you just order better ones anyhow. But but just to make sure that you're hitting the ground sort of running a little bit, that you've got a bit of savvy about, right, that's all good. I know they're all good. When you get there, then it's just going to be a little bit of a learning curve, just like actually setting it up. But at least all the parts are there at a minimum. All the parts are there, and all the fabric and that seems fine. All the zip seems good. Things like that to consider, which is always a bit of a bonus. Turning up,
Ray just said exactly the same thing. Any kind of shelter sleep system you try first, even if it's in your back garden, nothing worse than finding out something is crap when you're out away from home. So I mean, a good example of that is we've got like a little event coming up, and the tent I'm planning to use, I haven't used. When was the Falklands MilSim that we did?
Oh, it was November 4 years ago.
Yeah, so literally I've not used it since that event. I wasn't sure if I'd put it away potentially a little bit damp, so I've just got it out to check it for that anyway, just because, you know, if it's got a problem, I can fix it. But it turns out what I had done, so I dried it off on the line, but I detached the internal tent from the outer shell, and then tried to put it back together in the lounge. So that was fine in theory, but then by putting it back up again, all the straps are in the wrong places and things weren't working. So literally for the space of half an hour, I set the thing up, managed to sort of firefight any problems. So when I now take it to this event we're going to, you know, I can just put it up. I know how it goes again, and I've reminded myself there's no going to be any dramas.
It's it, mate. Exactly that. Exactly that. And you know, you've put it up and you've noticed if there's any damage, you would have noticed it there and then. If, you know, if any of the poles are worn or anything like that, you know, and like you said, you've managed to make some adjustments to make sure it's all 100%. So when you do put it back up next time, you saved yourself that half an hour of fucking about, haven't you? So, which is always good. Always good. Always good. Next one I had on my list of sort of like hazards and things to be mindful of. Obviously, when you go into an event, is obviously the distance to the event. You know, you're looking at, if like myself and Mike, you know, we sort of live 40 minutes away from each other. If we was to go to a Stirling event, you know, we've got a few hours worth of travel in front of us. Now, you know, you're bringing in sort of like fatigue of travel and things like. Some people are used to it. Some people can drive. Like my father-in-law, for example, he could drive for days and just it doesn't faze him at all. Me, I can barely get to the shop without thinking, oh, that's tiring. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, bringing that buddy system into it, if you're thinking of going to an event that is a few hours away, you know, try and make sure you're traveling with someone, or failing that, you're having regular breaks, taking it easy, got a flask of hot coffee on you, you know, you sort of planned your route, and obviously you're letting other people know the route you're taking, where you're going to the event, when you're going to be back, you know, cut some emergency contact details for people and things like that. You know, if you're staying at a hotel near to a site, if it's a battle sim, film sim sort of thing, location of your hotel, just, you know, removing those risks of people not being able to get hold of you. But then obviously for the distance you're traveling, you know, if you're in a team, you know, share the driving. Do you know what I mean? There's no good trying to do it all in one hit and just get there. I want to get there. You know, it's great. Everyone wants to get there, but get there in one piece. You know, from that's sort of the message there, if you like. Isn't it, Mike?
Yes, I mean, I think one of the events we're looking at going to at some point, we've talked about a minibus.
Yeah.
You know, which, to be honest, will be fun in itself.
Exactly, yeah.
It'd just be a bit of extra adventure to it. You know, could be a bit of a laugh. Extends the trip.
I mean, we've done it before. I've done it before on a fishing trip to France. Me and my father and a few of our friends from work and stuff. I think it was 6 of us went for a week's fishing into the south of France, hired a lake out and that, and we hired a minibus. Very similar to obviously what our intentions are doing with the team. And good enough that the actual company that we hired the minibus from removed the 2 back rows of seats, because I think it was a 16-seater, so they removed like 8 seats from the back, 2 rows of 2 across the back, for all our kit and like rod bags and that to all go in. So we still had like 10 seats or something available to us or something like that, but they removed the 2 rows at the back, which freed up a load of room. And obviously they can just reinstall them. Well, obviously when we hand it back, no extra charge. And I think it was Aveley Car Hire, that was, whether they're still about. It was a few years ago, but yeah, they were fantastic to be able to do that. So, you know, if it's a bit of a long distance one, you know, either side of Wales or up north to Stirling.
Rage just said, so Mike, what you're saying is you're upgrading the murder bag to a murder bus.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Surely it'd have to be a murder van, wouldn't it?
It's all clapped out banger. Here it is.
An ex Royal Mail.
Yeah, it's got to be red. Any red's fine.
I just want to go back. Andrew Taylor's made quite an interesting comment. Have you tried Bivvy a month? Might not be MilSim, but it gets your kit dialed in and makes a MilSim seem pretty straightforward. I managed 5 years and 10 months. I haven't tried that, and I've never heard of that.
Bivvy a month?
If you could throw a bit more detail in, Andrew, it'd be quite interesting to find out more. I did just do a little bit of a Google search while Lance was talking. And I found a chat room where people are basically saying, oh, I bought a bivvy last month. Yeah, right. Yeah, that'll be interesting.
I saw that. I don't know if anyone saw the Pride of Britain, that young chap who slept outside for 560 days or something, raising money for charity. His granddad fell poorly or something like that, and his granddad passed away from cancer or something, and he did money raised for cancer research. And yeah, I think it's 5. He's actually the night of the awards, the night before that, he actually slept on the balcony of the hotel they put him in for the next day to collect the award. And then I think one of his prizes for like a Pride of Britain award was to sleep on the pitch at Twickenham with his dad that night. So he went straight from the award ceremony. Old Warderman was giving him his spiel and all that, and then he went off with his dad to the Twickenham ground, stepped out there under the floodlights sort of thing. I was like, that's wicked. But yeah, 560 days he's done on the trot, stepped outside, storms, rain, snow, wind, everything. So yeah, it's fair play to him. Yeah, good little lad. So he must be dialed in with his kit. You know what I mean? We need to go to him for some advice.
Well, that's what I think. I mean, I'm assuming the bivvy a month. I mean, I'll wait for the comments to come in, but I'm assuming it's sort of like, once a month, basically sleep in your bivvy. Which 5 years and 10 months, that's pretty epic going.
Yeah. I'm guessing that's sleeping outside once a month, is it, in a bivvy?
I have no idea. Well, that's what I've assumed as well, but I'm not sure.
I'm sort of taking from that. That sounds quite cool. I could do that.
Andy says, I have a rule. If it's over 4 hour drive, I go up the day before early, give myself some rest time. Good shout.
Yeah, that's it. Definitely, mate. 100%.
Dale says, I want to go France, Winton's. My father wanted to try that.
Yeah, fair play, mate.
Les, we've got the Falklands event coming up in Wales in a few weeks, and we tried to hire a minibus, but the price shot up a lot. I can imagine it would.
Yeah. I suppose it sort of remain relatively cheap. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm guessing it would remain relatively cheap if you had enough of you to sort of spread the cost about. Do you know what I mean? But it all depends on what the prices are. I mean, like I said, I'm going back a few years now when we hired a minibus, and it was really reasonable back then. But I don't know what the cost would be now. I haven't really looked into it. But...
Andy says, we tend to load up my van with all the gear, which frees up a car to just take people. Means we can split the load, and a fuel cost. So that's a good shout.
Yeah, definitely.
I just like the idea of having a van, or a minibus, not a van, minibus.
I like the idea of
Rage put it in my head.
Yeah. Oh no.
So Andrew says, Google Barebones bike packing on the forum. They are a yearly bivvy a month threads. It's cycling based, but there's a massive wealth of knowledge. Okay, good shout.
Yeah,
I will look that up.
Nicely done, mate.
Cool. Right. Where did we get to? So we just covered.
We did travel and distance fatigues and things like that.
Yeah. So I'm going to steal the next one off your list as well, which is obviously dealing with the basically the event itself. Obviously, you're potentially going to be not getting any sleep, and even if you are getting sleep, it's probably going to be broken. Again, ultimately, it just comes down to getting ratty. I think you've pretty much got to bear in mind that you're all there, you're all having fun. It's there, we're basically playing toy soldier. But the risk is ultimately that you're not going to be getting a lot of sleep. It's going to be a hard routine. You've got to, in some roles, stay up on stag till 3 a.m.
Standing guard.
One of the things I think we've discussed in the podcast before, and we're pretty terrible at, is that quite often our team, whenever we go, it does ultimately end up with, let's just lay in. I think it's like 3 or 4 of us maybe that are used to sort of getting up. I'm definitely not a morning person, so you're in your hammock, it's raining outside, you just got that nice little breeze just knocking you backwards and forwards. But there are events where you potentially get bumped out of your safe zone or your harbour area or whatever. So you obviously got to be prepared for that. You've got events where you're going to have to tab quite a bit of time around the site. I think the maximum I've ever racked up was something in the region of like 6 or 7 miles, maybe.
It's still good going, and I can quite happily say. I mean, I've done that with however many steps or whatever it is over a course of a weekend, but it's not certainly something. Sometimes I perhaps sort of come close to it during the week, obviously, because the distance I cover walking the railway and that to and from stations or whatever we're doing down the track at night time. But very rarely do I get anywhere near the meterage I cover at an Airsoft event. It's been a good one when you come back and you think, Christ, look at that. That's why it's always quite good. I always keep your phone on me, making sure the old stepometer is going, ticking over in the background. But I mean, essentially it's hard. It's the adverse effects doing that hard routine, being deprived of that sleep, being deprived of being comfortable. Like you said, it's going to get you ratty, not ratty McRaticus, but it's going to make you a bit narky. You're going to be like, I'm not going to say disorientated in that, but it will have an effect if you're deprived of sleep. Things take longer to process. Do you know what I mean? Decision making, things become blurred, and you might make some stupid mistakes and not be as sharp as what you normally would be. But then again, I suppose that's the idea of it. Do you know what I mean? It's sort of there to test you in a way. So, but it's just to bear that in mind. If you do feel yourself sort of thinking, right, I know we're here for the realism, this, that, and the other. But if I don't get us some rest now, then I'm going to be fucked for the rest of it. So you're better off just biting the bullet and saying, look, lads, I've got to get my head down. I can't do any more than what I've done already. And that's it. Then get your head down, because no doubt you're probably pissing them off and having the right hump from being knackered or whatever it is. Do you know what I mean? So you better off just take yourself out of it, get your head down for an hour or so, or 2 hours, whatever you need, and then get back into it. Obviously, don't take the piss and just go and get your head down for 9 hours. It's like, so you're mid-afternoon on Sunday when we're all packing up and going home. But, just get that bit of downtime, that bit of rest, and then bring yourself back into it. Because like you said, you paid for an event. You've paid to go to an event to enjoy yourself. Now, you want to sort of test yourself as much as you possibly can, especially if it's a hard routine one. But then at the same time, you've got to know when sort of enough's enough, and you do need to you don't do it every day. Most of the, rest of the month, I'm working on the railway at night time. I'm not out sleeping on the floor, running around the woods with a heavy pack on and a riff blapping away at people. It's not normal for us to be doing that. So you are going to feel the effects of it. So, don't think, oh, I can't do it. It's like, well, no, you've done it as much as you can for you personally. So go and get your head down, then come back into it sort of fresh. Don't think, okay, now they're all carrying on, so I've got to. Give yourself a bit of a spur on. Think, oh, I'm getting tired. Give yourself a little kick up the arse. Think, now I can do a bit more. But then when you do feel it's starting to really affect you, and it's not only bringing you down, but bringing you sort of like the team. You're not bringing your team down, but they can sort of see you're knackered, mate. Go and get your head down. That's when you sort of need to listen and go, yeah, all right, I'll be back. Give me an hour or so, and I'll be back. And that's as simple as it is. Really is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess I find with some of the events,
I wish I hadn't worn a green t-shirt tonight.
Sleep anywhere.
Look at this. I wish I hadn't worn a green t-shirt tonight. I look like a floating head.
I have the ability to sleep anywhere. So quite literally, I can, my probably my favourite position so far is that I have literally fallen asleep face down in the middle of Gatwick Airport because I was a little bit hungover on the way to Germany.
Nice.
And I just needed to sleep, so it was cold. It was
exactly.
Nice. It felt
if you're that tired, you will literally sleep anywhere.
Yeah.
That's what my nan used to say to me. Because you can sleep on a washing line, you could.
But that's the point, though, in that grab some sleep when you can. Most MilSims, you're not going to be running around 24/7.
No, exactly.
There are times where you are just holding a position of us. So literally, just buddy up, get your eyes shut. Just at least have a rest.
If you're in an 8-man team and there's 4 points of contact in the area you're covering or building you're in, 4 of you could be getting your heads down while the other 4 are on stag.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Think about it. If you're able to sit down and still keep a watch, then do so. Do you know what I mean? Don't stand there. If you can get some rest, just to take that weight off for a bit. I'm not saying ditch all your rigs and everything like that, but if you can just say, look, mate, just you stag for the first half hour or an hour or something, I'll do it. Do it that way. Use it to your advantage. It's all part of the event. Doing these little bits and bobs. It's all part of it. It's getting into
Legion events are a good
mindset.
One for that when you're on them. Mindset. Yeah. Legion events are a good one for that when you're on stag and like the sangers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. We've done it multiple times. You've just got a buddy system. You've got
even Big Mike says it himself, didn't he? In the brief, he said, "Don't take 2 of you to do it." He said, "Use that time. Think about it."
Yeah.
2 of you standing there. One should be getting his head down, or get a brew on for the other guy. Do you know what I mean? Like I said, buddy system. Look out for each other.
Yeah. Cool. My next one, to be honest with you, I've kind of gone more into the event at this point. I didn't know if you had any more pre-event stuff.
Not especially. I mean, I've sort of did it from choosing my event, traveling to my event, sort of getting set up at the event. Things I'm going to encounter. I mean, that was dealing with hard routine. I mean, my sort of next on my list was injury risks from playing at the event and things you can encounter like that. Things to be mindful of. So just go with your one, bud.
Yeah, so mine was going to be alcohol. I purposely didn't bring up what Mike said until just now. He said I can definitely advise against getting shit faced on both nights and then going to trying to adult/run a team.
Yeah.
So alcohol is obviously I don't want to say acceptable on a MilSim because it's not. It depends on the event. So Octo events, for example, you don't drink during the game. It's not have a drink during the airsoft. But in the evening, a few people, you usually have a 1 or 2 drinks in the evening because it's the social side of things.
Exactly.
Obviously, I don't think Legion events are really that kind of inclined.
No.
I wouldn't really say many other of the events, because obviously Octo's a little bit different in that you kind of you have your 8 hours and then you effectively stop and then you start again in the morning. Most other events I've done that have overnight ones generally tend to be continuous, so you're not really stopping that much.
I mean, the only time really at an event that I've seen that you probably could have a couple of beers or whatever is if you're able to attend the event on the Friday afternoon to get yourself set up ready for the Saturday morning kickoff. So you could have a few beers Friday night, and then obviously once the game kicks off Saturday morning, and if it is like an SEO one or something like that, or Sterling, I'm guessing, Saturday morning it kick. I mean, mind you, a lot of Sterling stuff are actually on MOD ground, so I doubt very much you'd be having any booze at all.
No,
unless you got a little.
But I mean, alcohol as a whole, it again is
it's
almost like the sleep thing, isn't it? Like ultimately, if you're going to get shit-faced, it's going to ruin your time the next day.
It will do. It will do. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I'm all for everyone. I mean, I'll happily have a couple of cans of beer with my barbecue food in the evening or whatnot. But as long as they don't give me gout on my big toe again, bastard. Touch wood, it's been all right. But yeah, I mean, it's just knowing when enough's enough. Think you've got a big day tomorrow. It's the first day. Everyone's going to be hyped for it. You don't think you waking up at 6:30, 7:15 in the morning and like a bear with a sore head going, "Oh my god." Do you know what I mean? This fucking, what's the point? We've all done it. I mean, I've not done it at an Airsoft event before, but you've been out on the lash Friday night. You got stuff to do with the kids Saturday, and you wake up and you go, "Oh, leave me alone. Don't even look at me." Do you know what I mean? It happens. It does happen.
Yeah.
But
what about? Here's an interesting concept. What about a little cheeky hip flask for a little nip?
Ooh, yeah, you can't say no to that, can you? I think it's an essential piece. I think that's an essential bit of kit.
See, this is the thing. I would say the same thing, but I am sort of sitting here thinking that it does sort of very much contravene what we've just said in terms of
no, I don't. Well, no, having a little like a
yeah,
that's better.
Just that little kind of burly feeling as it goes down.
Running around the site. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? There's two different things entirely. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not out in the middle of the games like getting shit faced on your hip flask.
Yeah, you got your 2-litre hip flask.
Yeah, just got like a 30-ounce hip flask in my Camelback.
Yeah.
Like,
This one's water. This one's vodka.
Vodka and Coke. Where's that Coke powder? Yeah, no, that's very well. Mate.
Yeah, so alcohol. Yeah, ultimately, yeah. As Andy said, think the rich call it a nightcap.
There we go. Yeah, a wee dram before bed. Hot toddy. That'll do.
So, have you got next one?
I have indeed, mate. Yeah, I wish my phone would stop closing, but it does. So yeah, mine was injury risks from playing an event and what can happen and what to do, sort of thing like that. So the sort of stuff you could sort of expect to encounter as a risk to playing at. Well, I suppose it depends on what sort of site you go to as well, like urban, forest, woodland sort of thing. What do you reckon, mate?
I wasn't listening. Sorry, what did you say?
You're a complete arsehole.
Right, can I just clarify? I'm on some pills, and the pills are making me a little bit spacey every once in a while, so I apologise.
Whoa!
Yeah, whoa! So at the moment, I can
not again. No.
I can genuinely really only focus on like one thing at a time. To the point of I was dropping a mate home from work the other day. We were talking, and I was thinking so much about what I was talking about. Just drove him to my house. Like, I was like, I need to actually take you home.
Would you like halfway up the drive and look around? Like, why is he still in my car? Weirdo.
Yeah. Like, oh, you're still here. Sorry, what? I didn't hear what you said. What did
you say? The risks associated with like taking part in an event, be it like urban, be it in the forest sort of thing, times of the day you're doing it. Obviously, night time's going to bring its own risks. Oh, hang on, excuse me, 2 seconds.
Well, on that note, I would say don't assume just because if you're playing an urban game where you've got like urban digs, and by urban digs I mean that you're basically you're spending time in a house, or so for example the SF base Legion again Longmoor. We went there. We were basically staying in bunk houses. We thought, oh yeah, no, it would be lovely and warm. It was frigging cold.
You will be, yeah. They turn into ice boxes, them buildings. Yeah.
There was no
one other thing as well. Urban knee pads, whether they're built in or whether you've got at least one. At least the knee you take regularly, if it's your prominent, like your right or your left, you must have a knee. You've got to for the roads, the pavements, the stone, gravel, anything like that. It's a bit more forgiving if you're on forest floor. I mean, you can still cop it. Do you know what I mean? But you're more than likely to really do yourself some mischief with the old knee, especially at the urban sites. You've got like a lot of hard ground, roads, pavements, walkways, things like that, inside buildings. Especially like the ground floors. A lot of them are poured concrete and that. But yeah, so there's a risk there to make sure that from a safety point of view. What are you laughing at?
I don't even find it's the floor itself. It's not the concrete floor. It's normally the frigging little BB that you're kneeling on. That's the thing that hurts.
The worst one I've ever done with my knee before is I knelt on a screw head, which was about 10 mil sticking out. It hadn't been screwed into the ground all the way, and I literally dropped to my knees, and I landed on I went instantly like see through, and just went, I'm going to be sick. I am going to be sick. That was the worst fucking pain I've ever experienced in my life. Oh my God, yeah. It was the last bit of the day. Took my knee pads off from work, and I missed one thing, and I just dropped to my knees to pick it up. And just, yeah. So, yeah, knee protection is a must. That is to avert that risk of hurting your knees. Knee protection.
See, the next two I've got are kind of, I'm going to lump them in together because it's almost like a medication type thing. But obviously, good feet care in terms of blisters.
Yeah.
And something colloquially known as crotch rot, which is basically, I'm a larger guy, I sweat. If you're running around all day, your box is going to get wet. The form's like that nice little chub rub going on down there.
Oh, chub rub's the worst.
So blisters and things like that, it just again ruins it for you because you spend more time like hobbling around, just go, I really want to join in, I really want to have fun.
It's just keeping on top of that admin, isn't it? Personal hygiene and things like that. Well, not even personal hygiene. It's mitigating that risk, isn't it? Like for me, Under Armour cycling shorts, awesome. Yes, mate. Yes, some talc, a dry towel, change your socks. Some of that. What's that tape that you recommended, Mike? If you do get a bad one,
zinc oxide tape.
Zinc oxide tape. Slap a load of that around it. That's what helps for days.
Yeah.
All them sorts of things.
So that for me is like one of the massive risks because ultimately,
it is, mate. Yeah. Well, I did it at that private event, didn't I? And it literally just rained. It never stopped raining. It was constant, and my feet got drenched. And I'm literally my own worst enemy, and I'm a fool because I had time to do it. I could have changed my socks out, dried my feet, put dry socks on, put my sealskins over the top, put my wet boots back on. I'd have been fine. Oh no, not Mr. Dickhead here. He just stayed in the wet socks all day long. Got home that night and it felt like someone was pushing like a million needles through the base of my feet. Oh, I just had to sit there with my feet in warm water to just stop the pain. It was fucking awful. So yeah, lesson learned there, 100%. If your feet get wet, change them, or change your feet. That'd be handy. Dry your feet, change your socks, and powder your feet and all that as quick as you can. Yeah, because obviously, like I said, it's the worst. The worst. I think Barry's boy at the last Octo game, Oakley, him and his buddy's feet got absolutely drenched. So it was we had our fire going in the evening. I said, right, lads, sit over here. I chucked my old schmock jacket on the floor. So get your boots, get your socks off, get your feet in front of the fire, dry your feet out. I chucked them some old medicated foot powder, get a load of that on there, dry them all off, fresh pair of socks on. And I said, just sit there now, get your boots dried out. Yeah, 100% perfect for the next day. I shouldn't have really done it because they were on blue 4, so I could have put 2 players out of the game there, made it a bit easier for the lads.
Hobbling them there.
Well, I can't help it. You know what I mean? Just in there. There's 2 layers. Could have helped you, but didn't. But no, they were all good, all fighting fit the next morning. So yeah, it's
a good example of that is we did a wild camp with work. And we basically walked 4 miles from our office, basically out into the woods, and then 4 miles back the next day. And we had breakfast in the little bistro near the office. On the way, probably about halfway to where we were staying overnight, I got a massive blister in my foot, and then it completely, properly just hobbling back. It's that kind of point where you're like, I can't do this anymore. Like this, the more you walk on it, you're causing it more pain.
Yeah.
And that was actually the one before the MilSim where I was Julian Banjo.
Julian Banjo.
So that was. We did that wild camping the night before, and that was the reason I couldn't go to the Airsoft, along with the boob class or whatever we had the next day.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
But that was that event, and that's why I was hobbling around that event because it just had a massive blister, and then it just killed off.
What would you say
like,
with that? Because I haven't got too much knowledge when it comes to blisters. Would you say the best thing if you do get a blister to burst it and dress it, or just to leave it and dress it?
I don't know.
Because I know a few people say burst it, some people say leave it. Because
obviously, I think it depends on what you're going to be doing with it. So if you're going to be continuing walking on it, I find personally, if you can get the fluid out, zinc oxide tape to hold the whole thing together, it makes it more manageable. Right. I know you can get like the little blister plasters and stuff like that. They're kind of like the donut ring kind of pads.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Now, to clarify, I'm not a medical professional, and Rage has already just said, no, don't do that. Personally, I find
don't do what?
Works
don't burst it
better.
Or do burst it? No, don't burst it, or no, don't do burst it.
It's probably no, don't burst it. And the reason you don't burst it is because the fluid's acting as a protective layer.
Well, that's what I was saying, because it is a form of its own protective layer,
But the reason I find is that...
Interestingly, we're going to cover this next week.
We are. And I'm not going to go into too much detail because it is just something that I do, and I find it helps. But it's usually worst case. I would much prefer if I'm not going to have to keep walking on it, and I can just, say we're at the end of the event and I need to go home, I would just generally leave it as it is. Yeah. Because you just risk infection and stuff getting in it, basically, if you start opening the skin. So, which I'm hoping is the right thing. Rage, by all means, correct me. There we go.
Burst a blister once you're home is fine, but blisters are to protect the area. If you burst a blister, it can be easy to get infection in there. Right, okay. So a blister forming is basically its own sort of field dressing, really, for the damaged area of the skin, if you like.
Yeah, it's basically, cool. It's almost, from my understanding, and again, someone correct me, because I'm not a medical professional, it's the two layers, it's the layers of skin basically rubbing, and then they separate. And then because you've got that friction going on, the blister kind of just acts as a protective barrier for that skin underneath. So you've got that going on top, but it's not affecting the underneath. Jade said she's a burst and zinc tape person.
There's a couple of them, yeah. I mean, I must admit, I probably would have done it. I don't think I've ever really had a bad blister on my foot, though, so I've never really done that. I've had a few on my palm, but...
Oh, there we go, yeah. Cheers, Rage.
There we go, lad. Right, I've got another one then. So, for me, environmental risks at the event you're taking part in. So, environmental risks being hazards of plants, the ground layout, things like that. So, you've got to take into consideration like giant hogweed, Japanese knotweed, foxgloves, all toxins, poison ivy, all them sort of things that you can get on your skin. But should be mindful if they are in the area. Just try, if you can, still wear clear. I mean, I know at Imperium, where we had to clear a little bit of our fob area, leading down to that fob, it was in the sort of like the swamplands at Imperium. There is some, I think it's either Japanese knotweed or giant hogweed. So, just getting any of that, the juice from the actual stems or the sap, if you like, on your skin, it can blister, it can burn and really irritate. So, not good things, especially if you get in there. I don't know if it's knotweed or giant hogweed. I know it's one of the two.
I know. So giant hogweed is the one that causes the burns. I think Japanese knotweed's the one that you have to, if you get a little seed of it, because it's so virulent in sporing and growing, you have to basically burn. It's just salted earth protocol. It's just like, right, we've got to take out everything.
Oh, that's what I mean. My dad, they had to remove some of it on the side of the railway bank, and literally for one plant they had to dig like a 2-meter block out of the ground and have it taken away in a secured sort of container because of the contamination it causes and how it just spreads. Thanks to the Victorian.
Well, the other, it's not.
It was lovely.
We had one because it's really aggressive growing as well. We had one where we had an area and we basically covered it in a concrete slab because we're like, it's all sort of boxed in, covered in concrete slab. One spore managed to grow and burst through the concrete slab. It's this proper aggressive plant.
Naughty.
Yeah. Oh, apparently it's like rhubarb or rubbers.
I've never tried it.
Sorry, that is the best auto spell.
You can eat it just like rubbers.
You can eat it. It's just like rubbers.
Ooh. Rhubarb. Yeah. Swiftly corrected by Jade there.
Yeah, so giant hogweed, as Jade just said, giant hogweed is horrible. It's the sap on it basically makes your skin photosensitive. So if you get your skin in the light of the sun or anything like that, it basically breaks down the UV protection on your skin and you just blister. And I don't think you can get rid of it either. It's like something that just carries on recurring year on year.
Yeah, things to look out for. Definitely. The old flora and fauna at the site you're going to.
I've got overexertion as a risk. And the reason I mention that is these all seem to relate to Longmoor. There was one particular event at Longmoor that I thought, you know what, fuck it, I'm just going to go hell to leather. And I was jumping over walls, just throwing myself like, I'm not particularly agile, but I was like, threw myself over a wall. It's fine. I'm in the next garden, moving across and stuff. The next day, I could hardly walk. And that just comes down to the fact that ultimately, I'm not used to doing that level of exercise. I'm definitely not someone that's designed to go over lots of walls.
Same as that.
Yeah.
Especially with the kit you've got on as well. Do you know what I mean? It's
exactly. Even the guys we're with, I think we're in like a 6-man team. And even one of them, as I kind of just threw myself over the wall, I think just under his breath heard, fuck me, that was ridiculous.
I mean, I swear to God, I mean, sometimes I swear if my knees had voices, they'd be like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
What on earth were you thinking?
The amount of bobbing up and down that you do, like
it's just my knees are going, ooh, oh, back up. Yeah.
So I would just watch overexertion. So if you've got anything that's going to be potentially sensitive for you to be there at the next day, I don't know. Say you go to church and you're gonna do some sort of prayer thing where you've got to like get up and down off your knees. Just be prepared that you might not be able to get up once you're down.
Might not be as quick as you were previous weekend.
I mean, genuinely, I've because we've got like 3 flights of stairs to get to my office at work, and I've approached them on a Monday morning after a weekend in MilSim like a 90-year-old man. Like, I'll be up in a minute.
That's normally when you know it's been a good one, though. If you're like, you think, oh, covered some ground this weekend. Yeah. Felt that one. That's what I was like after that Falklands one. I was aching when I got home. I was just like, that one really hurt. I enjoyed it, but that really hurt, that one. So one of my lists I've got is nighttime, and not only that, but also dark buildings as well. So by that I mean nighttime. It throws a completely different aspect on an event. You know, from during the day, you could have patrolled down the same track or through the same part of woodland. Obviously, no problems. It's during the day. And there's been a couple of low-lying branches which haven't caused you any issue or anything like that at all. But as soon as that nighttime comes and you lose all perception of how high or how far something is away from you, you could be just smacked straight into that. Unless you've got the greens on and you've got like the right conditions for using them. You know, there's no mist or fog, or you got starlight and things like that, moonlight out and about. But it's just something to bear in mind, you know, obviously having the ability to see at night with your greens, or if you do have to use a bit of white light on your torch, using it, you know, sensibly, and even going into buildings, obviously, during the day into a dark building. If say for arguments at Longmoor, they have all their metal shutters on them buildings closed, that's proper dark in it. It's pitch black in them buildings. If all those shutters are shut down and you've only got the doorway access, you've got that little bead of light coming through the doorway, but as soon as you're in there, that's it then, blacked out, it's completely blacked out. So it's just being mindful of things that you didn't consider to be risks during the day. Once that nighttime falls, completely different. You've got a little shell scrape over there, could be only a foot deep. But if you don't see that at nighttime, you take a tumble into that. You know what I mean? You could roll your ankle, your knee, anything like that. Not only you hitting the ground, if you've got a pack on or your rifle when you go backwards, that's going to come straight at your face. All things to consider. So it's just being really mindful of your surroundings, particularly at nighttime. You know, it's all good at cutting about fast during the day, but as soon as that night falls, you've got to be really careful on your steps and the steps you're taking. And obviously, remembering where the hazards are from the daytimes when you've been out on them patrols, you know, sort of getting a little mental map of thinking, right, got to be mindful of that this evening when we're out. Bits and bobs like that to sort of consider. Completely changes the element of a game nighttime.
You've got that transition as well. You say running into buildings. It's that transition of day to
absolutely,
dark,
mate, yeah.
Because you're not just having a casual stroll. You know, you're maybe being a 3-4 man team. You know, you might have 2 or 3 guys in front of you. If you pile in and they've stopped, you know, then you're either going to go straight into the back of them or it's going to cause a problem.
It's tough. I mean, I've done it at APOC at night time before, but I've had my thermal scope out. And Jason, friend of mine, he's done it as well. We've been like all day long. I mean, you could, in a way, I could walk there with my eyes shut. But come night time, we were trying to go through from Burnt Jeep, the bottom of the hill there, Mike, up the hill past checkpoint to where the stockade was, through the woodland, through the back where our fob is. And literally, we had to stop for a minute and go, right, we just need to get our bearings. And it took us ages to actually sort of navigate and figure out actually what direction we need to be traveling in. We've run that site hundreds of times. Do you know what I mean? During the day, even in the evening. But it just goes to show it's so easily disorientated at night time. You know, you could know the site like the back of your hand, but it only takes one thing. You could be one tree just looks like another tree at night time. Do you know what I mean? Especially when you're looking through the white and grey of a thermal scope, and you're like, right, this way. You've got to just stop and just take it slow and just be mindful of your surroundings. You know.
Yeah, little compasses work for that as well.
Definitely.
Just a little bit of orienteering skills. Moving on to night stuff, because I've got a few as well. It's just to have a torch on you. I know you were saying in terms of moving into buildings and stuff, but those little like the little press button lights.
Yeah.
I've had one of those on my kit before. This is before I sort of upgraded to a little beacon light. And I was using it as a deadlight because I think it was like £2 off of eBay. It just worked. I needed a deadlight. I didn't have a torch. It was pitch black at night, and I needed to get from like one side of the site to the other. That was the only torch I had. That was the only light I had to get back. And trying to navigate your way down a broken rubble path with a tiny light holding it down on the ground just so you can see barely just enough.
Literally where you're putting your foot. Yeah.
It was a nightmare. So just the simplest little torch. And you can get the little, I think Viper do them. Like the little kind of, they're almost the size of a battery. I will just find a quick picture.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it's going through your night drills as well, isn't it? It's that time, especially now. I mean, Christ, the amount of nighttime dog walks I've done recently with Dan from our team, Dan Monstall, and we've been over to the woods, and it's sort of like reasonably light still, but then 10 minutes into the walk, we're like, fuck me, it's pitch black now. So the old torch headlight, like I said, I've almost got my day sack on me, which I take to work. That's always got a head torch and a handheld torch in it. I must get a new handheld torch though, because it's starting to get a little bit iffy now. A few years old, but yeah, it's just busting out the head torch. You know, I've got a little red rear bike light which flashes that goes around the dog's collar. Bang that on, so I can just see this little red light going all around the woods. There's the dog. He's all right.
That's a good point, actually. Chem lights on the back of your helmet or whatever. Like the little ones. Nothing too bright, because otherwise you are just going to be giving yourself away. But something to like little identifying marker over in the back of your head or your plate carrier.
I found the little fishing float. You can get little chem lights, and they're literally probably 20 mil long, 25 mil long, tiny little fishing float ones. Again, same as a Siloom. Just snap it, give it a shake, and you get the little glow there. You could put a bit of electrical tape around it, just so it's just the tip is showing. Just pop that in a molly strap or something like that, or you can get a little holder for them, I believe. Or the big Silooms, you can get the big hard plastic holder, which you break it, put it in the holder, twist it shut, and then you've got like a little vertical window, and you can just open it up, and it's got a little hole to expose a tiny little pinprick of light, or you can open it all the way, and you'll get a full sort of like the width of the Siloom showing, depending on how much light you want to show off.
I always thought they were a little bit pointless in having those, to be honest with you, because you've got the massive Siloom. Like to me, it seems like a waste to use a big full length Siloom or whatever for effectively like a little bit of identifying light.
Yeah,
on the back of it.
I mean, I'm guessing having that holder, it's the ability then to sort of use the Siloom as to look around, to light up a room or mark something, as well as using it to just identify you to make you behind you in your section sort of thing when you're patrolling at night time. But yeah, I mean, they are quite good. It keeps it safe as well. Do you know what I mean? If you don't have to break it, you can just chuck one in there, leave it shut. It's in your kit bag, or it's clipped to your Bergen or whatever it is, and you know it's always there. I mean, we go on to those ones, Mike. We've got the everlasting ones, haven't we?
Yeah.
Which will just glow up. They'll last for years. You can get them in like purples and greens, and they're great for marking your kit at night time. Really small, tiny little teardrop ones on like a key ring, and you can click that on a zip or clip it on the edge of your basher, just so you can then it doesn't give out a bright light, but just a nice, there we go, tiny little one like that, and that just so you can know, oh, there's my Bergen. It's sort of like your nighttime drills, and you haven't got to put a big white light on, blind everybody else. Oh, look, it's looking for my stuff. Do you know what I mean? But that's a good thing to get into. It's that time of day when you get back to your fob. You know the next time you go out, you're going to be going out and it's getting dark, and when you come back, it's going to be pitch dark, or you're going to go out when it is nighttime. Then, so you're going to have to make sure you've got whether it's a night scope or your thermal scope, you got your nods, your head torch, your handheld, any chem lights you're going to need. You know, have that in a little night kit bag sort of thing, ready to go, in a little dry bag, so you can just quickly change up. For me, my head torch goes around my neck, just tucks in my top, so if I need it, I can just pull it up. Handheld goes in like a little 9mm mag pouch or something like that, and I'll have my thermal on my rifle. And just getting into that routine of having it close by, and it's your nighttime admin for your kit as well, making sure you know where your bits and bobs are, and it's not just all spread out like a massive grenade's gone off in your bag and it's just everywhere. Keep it packed away. You know, use one thing, put it back in your bag. It's just easy. I
was just going to show you this one off quick. This is the little
Yes. Nice. Oh, that's all right. Yeah.
So it's designed to just tuck into molly as well.
Yeah, I like that.
So it's
Is that what's the lumens like on that, mate?
It's not bad. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not suggesting that you buy this for.
I mean, I don't want it for search and rescue, purely just for like your personal lighting that you want around you.
Yeah, I mean, I find it's not too bad. I mean, Olight do one thing that's obviously sort of it's going to be better. It's a lot more money.
I've got them. I've got the Olights in my basket on Amazon. I'm just seeing if there's any Black Friday deals on them because I am desperate. Because my head torch on it, as good as it is, my LED lenser for work is starting to sort of show its age now because it's relatively old. And I'm sort of tempted to go with the Olight Mini, which is like an angular one, just goes through a rubber strap, so you can take it out and
it's pretty much similar to the shape of that one.
So I want to get that as a head torch for work and anything else, and it's got like a little magnetic charger which goes on the bottom of it, which I think is quite a cool little touch. And I also want to get the handheld, the large sort of a slightly larger sort of standard, vape sort of size torch, if you like, by Olight. I think all in all, I think I'm up to a great deal of money. I think it was about 130 quid for both of them, which I know is quite a lot for a torch, but if it comes with a great warranty. The build quality is relatively good. I'm guessing I've never owned Olights before, so I've always had lead lenser. They've never let me down, but I don't know. We'll have to see. It's in my basket, so I'll have a look. There might be some lead lenser products out there still, and I probably would go lead lenser because I've always used them. So, but we'll see. We'll see.
No, I mean, Olight, very good reputation.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah,
I'm aware of. So
your Olights and your Surefire and things like that. All good stuff. All good stuff.
Edward says, I use a head torch that has a headlight and a dead light. It was £15 or something. It's just for moving around, not helpful in game. Yeah, exactly that. It's just have something on you because at the very least, if you can just,
Well, I use that one I've got, the one we gave away in the MilSim kit bag. That rechargeable head torch. Fantastic. I use that in the woods for walking the dog. I get more than enough distance to see where the bloody hound is, what tree he's running into or squirrel he's trying to chase. It lights up all around me. It's got the red aspect as well on it, which is handy for a dead light at night if you do want to use that. I've got I think I've got another head torch which I use more for my MilSims. It's made by Silva, Silva. Reason being is that when you click it on, the first light you get is a red light, and then you can just hold it down to turn it back off. So if you do need to find something at night, you can just red light it rather than bright white light. And if you're dead, obviously you can just click it on, you get the red aspect. Obviously just hold it down to turn it off again, which is quite cool. A lot of torches I've had, you've had to cycle through all the white options before you get to your red aspect at the end, sort of thing. So that's got this Silva green. It's like a green cylindrical, quite a long, thin sort of like lamp aspect, if you like. So yeah, that's more of my MilSim torch. It's over there actually. We're not going to go down there because it's very dark.
Put a link in the chat to the little night glow rings.
Oh, okay, cool, eBay. Nice, yeah.
I think you can get them cheaper elsewhere, so don't definitely buy them from the link I've sent you. But if anybody wants to have a look, then feel free.
Yeah, 100%. I'm trying to think. I can't actually think of the name of them now. What they're called? Those little, but they are well handy for nighttime markers and that.
This is called a night glow ring.
Okay. Nicely done. Beautiful. Yes, very good. Very good.
So the other one I was going to say is a dead light as well. Just the risk there being overshoot. At night, even during the day, I mean, dead rags are obviously important during the day, but you've obviously got the visual marker. You can throw your hand up. If you've got somebody flapping around in the middle of the forest and they hit you, they can't see your hand going up. They might hear you saying hit, but a little red light coming on, that's going to be the main thing. Yeah, the only thing I always find a little bit hard with dead lights is you never know if it's someone that's genuinely dead, where they put the dead light on, or if it's someone using like the little red torch for like navigation or to kind of trying not to kill off their night vision. And it's always difficult with that, so you always challenge them. And if you don't hear that back, then you start firing away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
fair one, mate.
Dead light, something like that. It's always good.
You got to have it on you, yeah, 100%. It's a no-brainer, and you got. I mean, I must admit, I've gone out. Oh fuck, it's not working or something like that. But always having that backup. You know what I mean? Like Ed said, there is that 15 quid. I mean, that one I use, that's no more than 15. In fact, I think it was probably a little bit less than 15 quid. But it's been absolutely blinding. You know what I mean? It's got a nice little waterproof charging. The cover for the little micro USB. It's just a really good torch for 15 quid. I mean, it's just one that I chuck in my work bag. It's a backup. I mean, it's helped me out countless times at work when my main torch died and I've had to whip that one out quickly. Bang, never let me down. Every time I use it, come back in, put it on charge. It's just a great little torch, really good. And for the price of it, when there's no signs of it being damaged. When you click a torch sometimes and you can adjust the head on it and it's like just flops like that, bit floppy. This is like a proper I'm like, yeah, this is strong. Love this. Yeah. Look at me getting excited.
With a big bulky backpack on it.
No, that's my main one. That's my lead lenser H14R.2.
Yeah, I've got one of those.
Which goes on my hard hat.
Yeah,
got the big lithium-ion power pack, which is they've got the new one out now. My mate Max has got it at work. It's an absolute legend of a torch. Like turns on, it's like the sun. So, just like illuminates the tunnel. It's wicked.
Nice. I don't know. What was that thing Dan had at the Octo event?
Oh, they're the DeWalt sight lights.
Yeah, that
bazooka.
thing was a
when it's closed down, it looks like a black and yellow bazooka, and you just open up his legs. Go, it looks like the War of the Worlds. This big alien, just looking about.
There you go.
That's the
proper awesome. You see, I was going to say for night games and stuff like that.
There you go, Mike. I've just sent you that picture. That tunnel is jet black at night. So on WhatsApp, I don't know if you can get that onto the screen.
Yep, 2 seconds.
I've just WhatsApped it to you. So that tunnel, normally there's tunnel lights there, but they weren't working that night. So that's obviously where a good head torch comes into it, to mitigate any risks of getting trippy on the older tunnels of the underground. And you can see how well it illuminates. And that's on a normal setting. That's not on like the turbo. You hold the button down, it boosts it even more. But with the lights off, it's quite spooky down there when you're walking along. And especially if you've got other sections of track where there's trains still running, you hear this, and you think, is that going to come around the corner, or is it next door, the other side of that wall? It always it's always in the back of your mind. Just keep looking over your shoulder. Keep looking over your shoulder. You just, you're like, oh no, here we go.
My uncle. This is a side story, but my uncle does train spotting and stuff like that. You can actually buy DVDs of tube journeys. So they basically just slap a camera on the front of a train with a load of lights, and it just drives around. And you just get 2 or 3 hours of just literally sitting there watching the front of a train just go through tunnels.
Just sitting there like,
it's great.
Priceless, brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
I had something else I was going to mention as well. I can't remember.
Well, I had
that was it. Sorry.
Go on.
The little floodlights. You know the little work lights, like the little battery powered, like they're
I know. Big. Rechargeable sort of sight light thing.
Yeah, they're really good for if you are in like a fixed location or anything like that, and you do want to like illuminate buildings or whatever. Because most sites, I would say, in the villages don't generally tend to have power.
No,
it might be a bit of a stereotype, but they're mostly sheds and things like that, aren't they? Like timber structures. So if you want to create like a bit more illumination, use it as searchlights or anything like that. Those sorts of little battery powered packs are quite good for that.
Yeah.
Especially if you've got them on the outside of the building, because obviously it's going to dazzle anyone trying to look at you. So if you've got them on the outside of a structure, they can't necessarily see you moving around.
It's a very, very effective way of defending it. If you're in a fixed position, it's a wicked way of defending it. If you have you get that white beam of light just shining out, and obviously you're behind it, it's just there's no way of being picked out unless obviously thermal starts coming after you. But yeah, it certainly mixes it up with the green eyes and that as well. It's one tactical way of getting around them, I suppose, if you like, which is always good. Always good there. One thing the next thing I sort of came up with on the old list was with the weather conditions and how quickly they can change. Especially in the UK, do you know what I mean? Going from a relatively nice sunny day to all of a sudden having a massive downpour, wind starts rolling in. So yeah, bearing in mind having the kit on you to sort of like I suppose to deal with any changing conditions. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, this time of year now, I mean, I'd say from sort of like October through to March, it's probably the most difficult time of year to gauge your kit with regards to how much is too much, how little's too little. You've got to account. You've got to think about the rain aspect of it, and then obviously you've got extra dry kit there, ways of keeping or getting dry if you do get wet, like your feet, example. And then also you've got the temperature as well. So it's from now really it's only going to be doing nothing but dropping. in theory. I mean, we do get the odd anomaly where it's like, oh yeah, we've got a nice balmy 18 degrees towards the end of November, December, which is not uncommon. But yeah, it's just things to bear in mind there, where you could be out, like I said, it's a relatively sunny day, you know, sort of 15 degrees. As soon as that wind comes in, that's going to knock a few degrees off there. Then it starts raining on top of that, so you're going to be wet, as well as the wind chill factor on what was quite a nice day. Suddenly just sort of completely ruined it now, with the chance of you actually coming down with either getting a stinking horrible cold, even going hypothermic if you're out there long enough, Mike? Do you know what I mean? So it's bearing those things in mind, you know, and that where we goes back to, have I got the kit to do this event safely? Well, I need to get some waterproofs. I haven't got them. I haven't got them. I haven't got that. I haven't got that. Should I do it? No, probably not. You know what I mean? You need to make sure that you've got these things in place before you say, yeah, I can sign up. I can do this safely now.
And she just said, how is this episode costing me money?
Always. Yeah. Well, it doesn't make he could be spending the other Andy's money, can't he?
Yeah, there you go. As an aside, in terms of packing for an event and stuff like that, when the website goes live, which should be in the next few weeks, there is a typical kit list on there, ready to download.
I've got to say, I haven't had I've put input into this website and some spiel and bits and bobs, but I've got to literally take my big Russian hat off to Mike, because he is the man in the knowledge of building these sorts of things, and just say, from what I've seen so far, it is amazing. It's phenomenal. Cool. It's wicked. I love it. Even the little wobbly WhatsApp video of him on his laptop showing me the screen that he's working on. I was just like, oh, this is quality.
And Lance.com will work for the next year on that. But yeah, so there'll be a typical kit list on there as well if anyone wants to download that. I know we've been promising it for a while, but it is now done, and will be available on the website, so nobody has to moan about it being on Facebook.
Have we got a sort of a time slot, Mike, of when this could be this wonderful thing could be up for people to look at?
I'll tell you what I'll do is after the episode tonight, after I've had a bit more food, because I only had about half my dinner, I will update the website that's on there at the moment, the landing page, with a countdown timer. How's that?
Ooh. Will that countdown timer be available at lance.com?
It will. Lance.com basically takes you to novemberfoxtrot.co.uk. So
I do like it. Look at the light, it's quite cool.
My last risk that I had was sweat on iPro. And fogging.
Oh yes.
Generally, because again, nothing ruins an event that not suddenly being able to see. Generally, the only way I'll get around Mike. Generally, the only way I can get around that is backup mesh. You know, I don't think I've now suffering fogging problems with the Edge Tactical glasses as well.
Yeah, that's a bit of a bastard, isn't it?
Even with the anti-fog stuff that you've given me the other day.
So how long did they actually last then before they fogged up? I mean,
I would say 4 events.
So it was 4 MilSims basically.
4 MilSims, yeah.
So you're potentially 8 skirmishes.
Yeah, and that's with the headbands, everything like that, and replacing those and doing, you know, trying to keep sweat away from it. So I wasn't getting sweat on them. It's just, and to be fair, early doors, it doesn't fog. It just condenses. So it wasn't so much fogging as just raining on the inside of the glasses as well. Because I am a hot, sweaty bastard.
This is the thing, see, the whole thing with the metal mesh and then the plastic, obviously protective lens. Surely someone's able to produce a strong enough plastic we could make a clear plastic mesh. There must be a product. There must be a material out there somewhere. Asbestos.
You can make a mesh that's not painted. Asbestos.
You know,
my eyes are fireproof.
Rah! Look at me. But you know what I mean? There must be some form of like a hard, heavy-duty polymer which is clear. That they could make the same size mesh that metal goggle glasses are made out of, just to free up. Because that's the only reason I don't use mesh goggles, is because they're a ball ache at night time. You can barely see through them. You're having to spray the inside of it with like a lighter colour, either be a white or a very light green, just to sort of disperse that little wire subliminal vision you're getting of the actual mesh itself. You know, it does help. It does reduce that. If you've got black mesh goggles, you know, give them a light coat of paint on the inside, and that will help to sort of like relieve the eye. I don't know what sort of the word I'm looking for.
relief, I guess.
I suppose eye relief on the actual black mesh itself being so close up. Have you ever looked through Hero Sharks? No, I haven't, mate. No, not tried Hero Sharks.
No, I've got to give them a go.
I'd like
fair,
to.
I mean,
even my
I've
shot at the where was we at Legion? Michael, I don't know what it was. Whether it's something to do with the temperature that day or the little microclimate at Longmoor. But even my goggles, even with the fog stop stuff that I've got, even my Surefly glasses, they struggled. You know, and they never normally. The only time mine ever steam up normally is if I'm pressing my glasses to my thermal scope at night time, and I get an instant sort of steam up, and then when I come away from it, I don't get it. So, yeah, it's a pain in the arse.
Lance, in terms of the Hero Sharks, so I've been trying to invest at the moment in lenses because I do like the idea of having that proper solid barrier.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know, I mean, I'm not in any way dissing Hero Sharks or anything like that at all. You know, I don't really have a problem with mesh myself. Because of exactly what Andy's just said, you know, there's the risk of a 40 BB or someone using cheap ones or something like that.
Yeah,
I get it, but I get
the debris coming through them. Yeah, I totally get that.
So, but I've been trying to try lenses. So, Terry's just said, Mike, email Edge and ask me if you can be a tester for them and explain the situation. Yeah, if anybody wants, open invitation. I doubt anybody outside of our little group actually watches this podcast that runs an eye protection company. But if you do, send me a pair and I'll give them a go.
Yeah, Big Phil in Australia, he's listening in. He may well be the MD of Edge. We don't know.
I'll tell you what, if they're good, I'll even buy them. I'll definitely buy them because I would love to have a decent pair of eye pro.
What is it with steaming up? Is it the surface area of the glasses are colder than the ambient temperature around them, which causes it? Or is it the opposite way around?
No, it's from my understanding. It's you've got warm, moist air
on the cold surface.
It's condensing on the cold surface of your glasses.
So why can't you have
humidity and environment and stuff?
Why can't you have heated lenses?
Well, that's what I was wondering. If Ford suddenly made safety glasses with
you've got heated rear windows and front windows, haven't you? Could you not have a little? It hasn't got to go across it, but around it, just to keep that temperature just above.
I'll blow it. Have a tiny little wire running down the middle. I don't care. I'll have more visibility than I would with a mesh.
They have much bigger holes. Super flat. BBs just bounce off and definitely won't shatter. So by having a bigger hole in the mesh, they're actually better. I don't know. I would have thought that would be more asking for trouble, wouldn't it? Or we need reinforced contact lenses. That's it. Yeah, just run around with fish bowls on our heads, really, don't we?
Oh no, because the fogging on that would be a nightmare, wouldn't it?
Yeah, be like, where the fuck am I? Claustrophobia has just kicked in.
So yeah, anyway, that was my list of risks. I don't know if you've got any last ones left.
I don't think so, mate. No, I think I've covered what I could think of. Anyhow, I mean, I'm sure there's people who've got plenty of other bits and bobs. Oh, my last one to finish on, which we sort of covered a bit, was knowing when enough is enough, burning yourself out, and making sort of silly mistakes, which we have sort of covered with your fatigue and that of not getting your head down, which is probably a good one to sort of finish up on. Is we're not soldiers. We're paying money to go and mess about in a woodland or wherever it is we're going for a weekend. You know, you want to enjoy it. You want to be tested, I suppose, in a way. I certainly think that when you go away to an event, especially if you're like a bit of a hard routine one, you know, when it kicks off, that's it till Sunday. So you got potentially 48 hours of misery coming your way. But at the same time, you know, at the end of the day, you have paid for something. You're the paying customer at the end of the day. So you sort of then dictate, right, well, I've had enough now. I need to go and get my head down for a bit. And that's what you need to realise is, you know, when you feel yourself starting to go down, you're knackered, you know, you're not enjoying it. Just take yourself out of it, because you're not doing yourself any favours by staying there being fucking miserable. If it was Mike who's completely knackered and he's charging on, it'd start pissing me off after a while. And I'd be like, Mike, just go to bed. You know what I mean? Do yourself a favour. You go to bed. Get your head down, come back a bit more refreshed. And likewise for me.
I don't generally tend to get tired. I just get sillier. That's the problem.
You look around and Mike's go, woo,
yeah.
whoa. But Mike's supposed to be on Stag. Yeah, man.
Oh, Ed said, watch out for me, Lance. Remember, I could be anywhere. So Ed's a risk.
Ed is a risk. Yes, a high risk, Ed. Yeah, especially when you're in a fob that's supposed to have been guarded, and when you come back, they're just sat there around a fire. Ed's just laying on a pathway right in the middle of it.
Yeah.
I come back and I was like, "Are you guys dead?" Nah. Well, are you on stag or have you got any guard duty going on? Nah. And literally, I literally turned to walk up towards our command tent and went. I was like, hit. And I literally, as he shot me, I literally looked around and just saw him laying on the pathway, and he went boom, boom, and I was just like, fucking dickheads, absolute dickheads. But he did tell me he loved me, so that makes it all right.
Yeah, I don't mind being shot by Ed. It's fine. Andy makes a good point about wild animals as a risk. You jump on a badger or a fox, you know about it. Yeah, I mean, animal poo's probably quite a common risk.
Well, yeah, I mean, the old rat's piss, mate, as well, the old Voles disease, sclerosis, you know.
I mean, so there's two elements. There's obviously, as you're saying, there's the actual, proper medical issue of catching Voles disease or anything like that, which is another horrible disease you can get. Mine's more the aesthetic thing of just not wanting to smell like shit.
But see, you're becoming one with the environment.
That's why my dog
does it. But when I take my dog out, he makes a beeline for fox shit, and then he wonders why he gets hose pipes when he gets home. And he looks at me as if to say, "I fucking hate you. Why are you being so cruel and hosing me down?" It's like, don't roll in fox shit, mate, and I won't. Yeah. It's simple. You're bringing this on yourself. I don't know how. And I tell my dog this. I talk to him and I say, "Look, now listen. We're going out for a walk. Don't roll in fox shit, or you'll get the hose again." And he just sort of looks at me and he's like, "We're going now."
Yeah. Well, I get hosed down when I come home as well, anyway, if I'm muddy enough. So
nice, I like it. You insist on it though, don't you?
Always.
Oh yeah.
Last comment from Harry. I think you need SEALs dual plane safety goggles, like double glazing, so the outside pane is cold, but the inside should stay the same temperature as your face. Yeah.
Yeah, there's options there. I think the heated element is definitely
SEALs, not SEALs. Yeah. The heated, again, maybe little.
Just that tiny little copper wire, whatever it would be. Cut a little.
That'd be brilliant. Light. Just like, oh my god, let me just turn on my anti-mist system.
But it would be a little watch-sized battery.
Can you imagine thermal with them on?
Terrifying. Just heated eyes. People are like, what the fuck is that? My thermal's not working. What the?
It's just all these things just walking around the forest with massive eyes.
Like Mr. Burns coming out the woods, wouldn't it? I'm getting silly now. Stop it.
Yeah, I told you. When I get tired, I just get silly. Right, so we'll call that a day. Next week, we have Skills and Drills, episode 2. Yes. We'll be doing first aid with our very own Rage. So looking forward to that one.
We are indeed.
I assume Rage is still on the chat. I don't know. Hopefully he's. So, big shout out for Rage for helping us out with that one.
Yes.
So we're going to be learning some proper first aid stuff. So obviously, talk about the risks this week. How can you mitigate some of those next week?
Some of the injuries you might encounter at a site, and sort of covering the contents of a kit. Me and Mike were discussing is like, should we say that it's something that we recommend that you have on you? But then we were sort of the same opinion of no, you should definitely 100%, whether it's a skirmish day or a MilSim, 100% you should have your own personal first aid kit on you. Carry either in a pouch in your day sack. You must have a little first aid kit on you at all times. And there's the man, the actual legend.
He says you're welcome, and don't forget my sexy commas pouch.
Oh yeah. Don't worry, Rage. I've got a pouch of punctuation ready for you, mate. It's full of all different types of punctuation. He'd be sitting there now going, fucking typo. Fuck.
Well, to be honest with you, I was just thinking that a comma is basically a little swish of the pen.
Oh, it is a little swish of the pen, isn't it? Yeah, a lot of punctuation marks are swishes, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't upset him because I want him to come on. It'll be a good episode. Feel free to leave us a review on Facebook. If you have access to Facebook, it'll be cool. We'll read those out. 5 stars get read out apparently.
They do.
We've had no other reviews. So. But please don't leave us a 1-star.
Obviously, if you're not on Facebook, you can leave reviews on Apple Podcasts and YouTube and bits and bobs like that. So always welcome. I'm so angry. How wonderful! I love it.
Love your Rage.
Well, I see that he's written swish. I knew we'd win him over. He's just accepted it now. It's just a little white flag. Just comes out. All right, okay, you win. I give up.
And yeah, in other news, don't give me a negative review. Mitch, I'm sorry.
I like how he singled you out as well. I haven't done anything wrong. This has nothing to do with me. This is all you. Sorry, pointing at him. Yeah. He did it.
And yes, like the website.
It's like that Dumb and Dumber moment, isn't it, where he spills the salt and Lloyd looks around him. He's just pointing at it. It was fucking him.
The website will be going live in the next few weeks, so stay tuned for that. We'll probably release it live on one of the episodes.
Oh, man,
so it'll either be on next week's or the week after, depending how much time I think I can possibly spend to get it just top and tailed.
Well, don't let us stop you.
Huh?
Chop, don't let us stop you. What are you doing here?
Yeah, so thanks for joining. If you want to get in touch, you can do so at nofochat@hotmail.com. Instagram is November_Foxtrot_nofo. Facebook is November Foxtrot nofo. And YouTube is www.youtube.com/c/November Foxtrot. Although I'm going to change that when we get our website. I'm just going to refer you to the website because it's going to be a lot easier.
Beautiful. Les says, are you guys doing the Christmas giveaway? Probably not, Les. No, we're going to get someone else in to do it, mate. I might ask my mate next. I might ask my neighbours. Mike's going to ask his neighbours to come on for the Christmas special to apologise for nicking their Wi-Fi, but to get them to dish out the freebies. And I'm going to look at my bulbs. Look, both of these simultaneously blue. You can't even see them, can you?
Loosely, yeah.
But they are. So I've ordered a couple more of them. Not that you don't care because it still looks relatively all right.
So it looks sunny in the woods.
It is rather sunny, yeah, of course. Getting a bit of a burnt neck as it goes, yeah.
Ratty's asked, will the website have a Murderberg store?
Don't know how we stand legally with that, mate.
Well, no, actually, I've looked into this and we can potentially do that. There will be merch available on the website. The only problem with basically selling stuff, just open and honest, because it's a fair chat, is that it's buying the stuff to then sell to you guys. Because ultimately, I don't want to sell stuff to you that's ridiculously overpriced because it's pointless. Even the patches at £7 each, I found myself, I thought, well, that's probably a bit pricey. But we're only making like £1 per patch because we have to buy so many to get that discount.
And that purely covers the cost of the software we use for running the podcast. That's literally nothing else. That's purely, all the other stuff is either sort of kindly donated. Majority of it's been from Range Right, from yourselves, the listeners and viewers, and that for some couple of the giveaways, which has been great. But everything else is sort of just literally out of mine and Mike's pocket, as and when we can. Do you know what I mean? So, with a bit of merch on the side, but like Mike said, we don't want to be charging stupid money for it because that's not what we're about. This is all for just almost show and tell. It's literally just for show and tell, keeping in touch with everyone. And doing it that way, and that's what we've always wanted to do. We don't want to get like corporate sponsors and sell this for us, and we'll give you them for free and all that. We're not interested in any of that. We are. If I bought this little fold-out red cup, which is my daughter's bushcraft cup, I'd say you should get one of these because I've used it for a few months and it's really, really good. I wouldn't just say, a company sent me this for free. By the way, it's wicked. Go and get one because I haven't got a clue. It could be shit, but I'm going to tell you that, which is what happens a lot of the time. But that's not what we're about.
No. So we do need to try and find a way to make it a little bit more sustainable. So merch would be an option for that. Potentially looking at a few adverts potentially on the website, just here or there. I mean, again, I don't want to litter the website with adverts because it's not what we're trying to do. But if anyone's got any ideas on how we can fundraise, that'll be good. Yeah. But ultimately, to be honest with you,
we could do a car wash, couldn't we? Me and you could do a bikini car wash.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Ultimately, the best way, to be honest, if anyone wants to help with November Foxtrot, is just tell your friends about it and try and get the message out, because the more people that we can get listening to it, ultimately the more. So at the moment, we've probably got a following of I think about 40 or 50 people. If we doubled that, then if we came out with a new patch, that's more people that will buy that patch. It makes it more viable. Yeah, so t-shirts, that was another thing we were looking at. So yeah, basically there are ways and means that we are going to be doing some stuff on the website. There might be a murder bag on there at some point, just as
go through the pockets of your victims, right? He would do if they had clothes on.
That's the prison pocket.
Right, stop. Not enough now. Enough.
Yeah, cool. Right. Sorry, because Andrew said, I thought you guys were going.
In trouble here.
Kids a bit. Oh, blind. Right. Say goodbye, Lance.
Goodbye, Lance.
See you later.